Good morning, guys. Welcome to day 68 until I am a YouTube millionaire. And I wanted to make a video addressing a comment that I had from a good friend of mine here on YouTube, Chris Dindo, with respect to the Bible being complete, right? So it is actually quoted in the Bible several times and AI says calls it completely comprehensive, isn't completely comprehensive. So I was saying complete, Chris was saying comprehensive, Chris was saying complete, I was saying comprehensive. And then Chris was saying that the two things are synonymous, and generally speaking, one might think that yes. But the way I define complete, maybe I'm wrong here, I don't know, is everything that is necessary for you to get to the next world. The acronym Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth is appropriate here. And I was looking it up. There are a couple instances where you can see this clearly. They're quoted in the Bible. The first one, because I looked these up on Google, right? And AI gave a little synopsis of it, which I actually find accurate because I've read the Bible many a time, as Chris has as well. But here's one, and this is in the New Testament. The most commonly cited verse in the New Testament that suggests the Bible isn't completely comprehensive, is found in John 21:25, which states, "And there are so many things, or so many other things, that Jesus did, which if they were written one by one, I suppose that even the world itself would not contain the books that would be written." Very similar to the 500 million words within the human genome, and how that would be thousands of books to get it written down. So that's the first one, and it's the one that to which I principally refer whenever I bring up that idea that the Bible is not entirely comprehensive. It doesn't have everything under the sun in it, because it can't. It simply can't. If it did, you and I would never be able to finish it, especially since we have such short lives, okay? And then there's another quote that's actually in the Old Testament. I looked this one up too. A prominent one that suggests the Bible is not completely comprehensive comes from Job 26:14. Job is a book in the Bible that I really strongly identify with, and I think a lot of us who have dealt with trials and travails in our lives do. But Job says, "Behold, these are but the outskirts of his ways, and how small a whisper do we hear of him. From the thunder of his power, who can understand?" Essentially saying that we only perceive a small part of God's power and knowledge. So we can only perceive it. This is our little fractal kaleidoscopic portion of the entire picture that is truth, the entire portrait, the entire tapestry. All right? And this was brought up by Chris, comprehensiveness and completeness, because of a video that I posted a few days ago titled The Unsaid, where I was speaking about things that were not written in the Bible for purposes of keeping the main lesson we needed to learn comprehensible for us. All right? The main lesson being to love one another and, do what Jesus did, live as he did. And the unsaid portions, a few things that could have been what actually were happening behind the scenes. The reason, for instance, what was happening with Jonathan and David in the Old Testament was not stated explicitly, aside from one time where they were said to be cleaved to the same flesh, is because the whole idea of sodomy, and that would distract from the main lesson. You look at that and you're like, well, shoot, look what he did. I mean, why would we listen to him? You know? And then there's also the aspect of, and I'm not saying this is the case, again, I'm not saying this is the case, but you look at Jesus himself and his relationship with Mary Magdalene, the erstwhile prostitute. And many people hypothesize that he actually was in relations with her, right? The Da Vinci Code, they actually talk a little bit about that, and how he had a genetic line that went on past him. I can't say that this is true or not. We don't know. And for the most part, it would be neither here nor there. But if there's somebody alive today that actually is from his genetic line because he had children, that's kind of important. It would be very, 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 very important. And even if that weren't the case, there's also the aspect that if we do have the ability to travel through time, we could go back to when he was, which there's more evidence that he did the things he did and was alive and all that stuff than there was of the Emperor Tiberius that lived during his life, by orders of magnitude. So arguing that he didn't live and didn't exist and didn't do the things that he said he did, or that were said that he did, is nonsensical to me. I don't even want to hear it right now. But obviously you wouldn't want people to know that he has a child, because if people knew, they would unalive him. They would seek to destroy that line. Just look at what was it? Emperor, was it Herod? I think it was Herod. It says it in the Bible. I can't remember his name. I think it was Herod, who unalived all of the children between the ages of 0 and 2 years old to try to prevent Jesus from coming to be. It's the same idea here. You wouldn't want anybody to know that Jesus had a child, or many perhaps, because it would put their life at risk. And Jesus, when he's on the cross, is said to speak directly to, I believe it's Mary Magdalene, and a child that's standing next to her, and says, "Child, look at Mary, she is your mother. Mary, look at the child, he is your son." And he tells them to run off, to depart, so that they would be safe. As far as I can remember, and my memory is not perfect because I'm human, that's actually in the Bible. There are many unsaid things, unsaid because they would distract from the main story, and they would be too dangerous to say. And there's overlap there. Got to keep people safe. Get the lesson out there. Get the lesson out there that people need. Basic instructions before leaving Earth. And the details we can work out later. I don't know if this is the truth. I can't say it's the truth. And you're not supposed to know. Because if you do, it runs the risk of screwing everything up. So, just food for thought. I love these conversations, and I appreciate Chris Dindo infinitely for bringing it up. It's good things to talk about. It takes a mature Christian mind to even be able to talk about them maturely. That's redundant, sorry. Anyways, that's all I got for today. Let me know what you think. I always love the comments and people chatting with me, because I will respond and maybe even make a video about it. Love y'all. Peace.